Jesus to be able to look at you and like it.
Right.
Right? You don't need to be covered by the blood so God can look at you.
I don't need a Jesus.
You don't need a Jesus suit for God to look at you.
Greg, you said this about he came to cover us with his life. And Greg explained something one time. We talked about shedding of the blood was the pouring out of his life. I'm not covered by blood. I'm covered by his life.
Yeah. The shedding of the blood was to free you from the death. And God didn't clothe Adam because God was ashamed of Adam's nakedness. That's a picture of the blood and the whole dynamic with God and Adam. And you really see what's going on there. God covered Adam because Adam was afraid to be in God's presence. It wasn't that God didn't want to be with Adam. So God said, we have a problem here. I want to hang out with this guy, but he's afraid of me all the time. And the reason why he's afraid of me is because he's standing there naked. He thinks I'm ashamed of him. He thinks that I'm upset with him. And so I got to fix this problem. The way I'll fix it is I'll clothe him. And then we can talk again.
People don't realize God was hanging out with Adam when he was naked.
Yeah, I know. And he wasn't.
He wasn't ashamed of it.
And he didn't hide.
But afterwards, he saw himself, his nakedness as being evil.
Christmas, and I preached this a while ago, peace on earth and goodwill to men. We miss these things in the Bible, and they're so clear, it's painful that we missed them. Maybe that's why I come like this sometimes. But it says, when Jesus was born, no one had believed when Jesus was born, had they? Everybody was dead in their sin, weren't they?
Yes.
What did the angel say? Peace and goodwill towards men is what they said. This birth meant. Now, you go look up at that Greek, you know what it says? It speaks of something that someone does through a longing to be near someone else. So it speaks of one party longing to be near someone because they missed them. And then them coming to do something so that they can be near the other party. And we see this David in Psalm 8. He says, who is man that your mind is filled full with them, that you visit them? When you go look at that word visit, you know what it means? It means to long to be near someone, to miss them when they're gone, to feel as if something's not right when they're not there. And so that's what God was thinking when man was dead in their sin. Because man couldn't be around him because man was filled with fear. They would be filled with fear and that death would manifest in them in the presence of God because they thought God was angry. So God comes to do away with that. The angels saw that. They saw God was born into human flesh. It can only mean one thing. God longs to be one with human. And because he longs to be one with human, because he misses human when they're away, because he feels there's something just not right when they're not there, he's come as a human. And he's come to reconcile humans back unto himself. And reconcile doesn't mean that he was warring against us. Reconcile just means to join two parties to one again. And so he came to join together again. And the joining together isn't a personal offense. I'll probably preach this next week. A joining together, I'm feeling as I keep talking about it. A joining together is that God has life. In him is no death. We had death. And God wanted us to have life. So he come to reconcile us from death to life. So that we can be joined with him. And we can walk with him all the days of our life. Because that's what he wanted. That's what he wanted from the beginning. It's not that he needed to do something so we can be covered in the blood so that he could like to be around us. That's baloney, man. That's the message of the serpent. If I could just say it as radical as I can. And I heard you say earlier that, you're having a bit of a difficulty listening to other things that aren't the truth. That's a normal thing, but I would encourage you to take a deep breath and realize they're not trying to tell you things that are wrong from a malicious heart.
No.
They just don't know.
Right.
Yeah,
And so try to let your anger be directed towards the serpent. That the serpent has come to bewitch the church and has confused people. And you and me. Everybody in this room has been confused at some point. Right? About the truth. And so you want to look at it that way, but this is the truth. The angels saw what this meant. This was before anybody believed. Jesus hadn't died yet. The gospel is not about how God got it right to change his own heart about humans. That's not what the gospel is. The gospel is how God got it right to change humans' hearts about him. That's the gospel. God's the one who never changed.
Right.
We're the ones that changed. There was no shadow of turning in God. There was a whole lot of shadows of turning in us. So that we've preached the gospel as if this is how God got it right to fix what he felt in his heart about humans. When it's how God got it right to fix what humans felt about him in their heart.
Yes.
Because how can we be intimate? How can he have an innocent relationship with us if our minds are all the time filled with him and him disliking us or being dissatisfied with us or ashamed of us or angry with us?
Right.
You don't want to be, or finding fault with us or all the time uncovering our nakedness. You don't want to be around somebody that's drooping you all the time. I mean, in junior high, people would droop people. And you saw who were the people that would be drooping the people. You looked out for those people and you weren't near them.
Yeah.
It's like we think God's the one who's drooped us, and then he comes and points at our nakedness and makes fun of us and tells us if we can clothe ourselves up good enough, then he'll like us again or draw near to us. That's how we made the gospel.
Sure.
It's ridiculous, man. God is the one who clothes. He's not the one who uncovers the nakedness. He come and told Adam, who told you you were naked? He didn't come and say, I told you you were naked. Why are you naked, dude? Right?